Our next guest is an internationally renowned jewelry designer, entrepreneur, and author of The Desired Brand Effect, a how-to guide for thriving jewelry businesses. Tracy Matthews, welcome to the Chundria Show. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me, Chundria.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So let's talk about you. How did you get your start in the jewelry business?
So I was taking a class when I was in college, and I was a liberal arts major. I wanted to take some fine arts classes. So I found this class called jewelry making. I signed up for it, and it just so happens I had natural talent and started a business. I mean, this is a long time ago. So it was really fun. And that led me to a 25-year career in the jewelry industry as an independent designer, and now a mentor to other designers.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, I mean, what started as, a class that you were taking has now, catapulted you into a beautiful career. But where's that part of you that wants to help others? How did it turn into being a service to others?
Right. So I spent years building a jewelry business. In fact, I built it by trial and error. I didn't have a lot of background in building a business. I was just kind of figuring it out as I went. And in 2008, we all know what happened then. The economy crashed and the commodities market skyrocketed. And I was left in a really bad place because a bunch of my accounts, I was selling mostly to retail stores. I was selling to over 350 stores around the world. I had some of the best retail locations possible, like Anthropologie and Sundance catalog. Good thing that those people were still like above the board, but some of my accounts who were carrying a lot of my inventory filed for bankruptcy and decided not to pay me, which ended up, as a small independent designer, cash flow is kind of king, kind of put the business out of business. And I had to go through this process of winding down that company and then eventually restarting and relaunching a new jewelry business with a different business model. And throughout that process, I was seeking advice from mentors like I am now to other people. And I ended up hiring my first consultant who literally changed my life. He helped me see the things in my business that I couldn't see. And I knew after that experience, I was going to pay it forward and help others. And so I launched an academy called Flourish and Thrive Academy in 2012 with a friend of mine named Robin Kramer, who's also in the industry. And that was the start of this mentoring business. And since that, we've helped over 7,500 brands launch, grow, and scale successful jewelry brands and other product-based businesses. And it's been a blast.
Wow, I hear so much joy in your heart when you talk about this. So I can tell you're really passionate about, serving in this capacity. And then also one thing you said, you had a mentor, you reached out and what you saw as a resource at the time, now you're that resource for someone else. And I think that's just such a selfless thing to do. And lucrative, I'm gonna assume. What was your inspiration for your book, The Desired Brand Effect? Because you've taken me from yourself as you took that class, you have this thriving business, to coaching, 2012 and to present day. So where did the book come along, and what do you hope your readers will get out of it?
So the book came along because it was a methodology that I actually created for myself to overcome problems in my business. If I was having a sales or a lead generation problem, I looked at parts of the Desired Brand Effect. Or if I was struggling because I was overwhelmed with all the things I had to do, I looked at other aspects of the business. So this model was really like an evolution and development over many, many years of building a business. I gave it a name because, it's easier to communicate when it has a name, but it's basically a business building framework. And so there's 3 core pillars to it. Creating desire, sharing desire, and scaling desire. Creating desire is really all about audience attraction and developing products that people want to buy. Sharing desire is all about sales, marketing, and getting people to buy from you more than once. And scaling desire is about the business operations and everything it takes to build a profitable, successful business. So I had been teaching this in my programs. And then eventually, I was working with another mentor and they're like, you need to name your methodology. And so the name, The Desired Brand Effect, came from a combination of a conversation that I was having with an ex-boyfriend who was like, people don't buy jewelry because they want it. They buy it because it's desired. And so we started using this terminology about creating desire, sharing desire, and scaling desire. And then that framework turned into the Desired Brand Effect. So it's something that I used in my business for years, and I've used it to scale for businesses over multiple industries. And now I teach it at Flourish and Thrive Academy. And that was really the impetus for the book, because this frame, people were getting such great results from the framework. And then they would come and experience Flourish and Thrive Academy. And, they dabble in my podcast or watch some of the free content that we have, but they were hesitant to take that next step. And so I wanted to create something that was a low cost way for people to be able to implement the methodology that I've helped so many brands implement in their business and give them a taste of what it's like and what it actually takes to grow a successful business.
You have done just that. So let's talk more about the book. You emphasize the importance of creating desire. You just talked about that. Expound on why. Like, are you delving into like the consumer experience? Like, you're exploring like fully what, why people buy what they buy. Are you really exploring that for the entrepreneur that might read this book?
That's a great question. So yes, and so years and years ago, in about 2006, I landed a contract with QVC and I had to go and do this sales training. And up until that point, I don't know how I got such great success in my business up till then without understanding like the real reasons why people buy jewelry. And through the sales training, I was, they were like asking all these questions, like, what is it about your product or your jewelry that makes them want to buy it? And I was like, oh, because it's lightweight or handmade and all these things. And a lot of people are selling the features of their products, not the benefits and not the connection to the emotional reasons why people buy something. With luxury products, especially jewelry, there's a lot of times meaning attached to it. It might be something, maybe the piece that they're wearing gave them the confidence to really land that big job interview. Or maybe it's that, the piece that they got from their boyfriend to ask to be married, to get engaged or something that obviously has a very sentimental piece. When someone gets engaged, what's the first thing that they ask? Like, where did you get the ring or whatever it is? And so people have and there's so many other things, people buy jewelry for status or how it makes them feel, but it's really diving into the emotional reasons or the emotional selling points about why people buy. And it's unique to every person. I mean, there are some crossovers, but every brand has a different reason why someone would buy from them. And so the more that you can refine and define what you stand for as a business and put some stakes in the ground to really communicate that out into the world, the easier it is to repel the wrong people, but also the easier it is to attract the right people. And that's why it's called creating desire, because you're not selling to everyone, no matter what you think. Like, the worst ads in the world are the ones that like actually talk to everyone, because you're just like, they're going to get skipped over. What you want to be able to do when you're connecting with your perfect customers is to evoke an emotion out of them when they look at your jewelry or when they look at your marketing or whatever it is you're doing. So that's what creating desire is all about.
Oh, I love that so much. And I love that the tie into the emotions,
Yes.
You're right. There are those pieces of jewelry that you have that come with so much emotion, come with so much memory, and you'll hold on to it forever. It could be a $2 necklace that you got, when you graduated from high school, and you carry that. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right. The emotion in it. So true. Your book gives readers the confidence to go out and be their best spokesperson, right? Speak to the introverted entrepreneurs out there who might be watching. They might be a bit shy or a bit reserved when it comes to speaking out proudly and confidently. Speak to that person.
So there's a lot of introverted people or shy people who come into our community and they're like, I'm like really bad at sales. But like, the more confident you can become about talking about your product and just having normal conversations, I think really my hope is that this book gives people the tools to like go out and just think of selling as a service instead of something that you're pitching people. And I think that's like really the distinction. And I've trained so many entrepreneurs, and especially in the jewelry industry, to have that confidence to just go out there and just be themselves. Like, it's not really about the hard sell. It's about asking questions. It's about understanding like why someone's attracted to what you're doing. It's also about just having a general conversation with people. I think people think that they have to like be all pitchy and weird, when really it's just about like connecting with someone on a common thread that makes someone actually enjoy the interaction with your brand. So this can be tied into in-person sales. It can be tied into online sales. It can be tied to any type of sales that you're doing. It's just really about developing, like really strengthening that confidence muscle that you have to feel comfortable talking about what you do in a way that matters to your customer.
I think that's really special and a great way for whether you're introverted or not, to really kind of connect with your customer. And like you
Yes.
said, take the pitch, stop with the PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
You
don't need to get pitchy, just like, have a conversation, talk about what they like about the ring or the necklace or whatever it is, or ask them questions about themselves. People are really self-involved. They enjoy talking about themselves. So the more that you can create like conversations around those things, the better.
Truly. I've heard that the desired brand effects walks the designer through visualizing a dream client, which I just love. I'm all about visualization and envisioning what you want. Why was visualization key for success in this book?
So one of the exercises that I walk people through in the book and that we do in our programs as well is basically creating a narrative around who this person is. One of the easiest ways to manifest and create whatever it is that you want in your life is to actually get really clear on what that looks like. And so the more that you can create a narrative around who these people are, the easier it is to find the people or to attract the people that are going to buy from you. And so in the book, I use a couple of examples, but one of them is an example of my dream client, which is named after one of my best friends. Her name's Kate, but this dream client is an amalgamation of myself and like 3 other people who I've worked with before. And so over time, like when you're first starting out trying to define a dream client, a lot of times people get stumped because they don't really know who that person is. But as you start working with people, maybe like one person isn't like 100% like the perfect dream client for you, but there might be aspects of that person that are. So I recommend for people to kind of like pull from the experiences that they've had working with certain types of people, and then turn that into a customer avatar where you create a narrative around that. So I developed this customer avatar named Kate. My jewelry line is all about redesigning heirlooms and creating special pieces. So I design engagement rings and wedding bands, and I do a lot of heirloom redesign. And the pain points that I really pulled from my avatar and getting to really know them and understand was all based on my personal experience of losing my mother when I was 22. And that was the whole reason why I ended up actually even becoming a jewelry designer, because the succession of events after that led me on this path. And so I know how personal and how important an heirloom piece of jewelry can be, like for someone who had a special relationship with their grandparent, or someone who lost a parent, or even, anyone special in their lives. They want to be able to memorialize that. And so that helped me. That experience alone just helped me really get into the understanding of like why I needed to communicate certain aspects of my business, because I know that when someone's coming to me to redesign an heirloom, that they're really worried that someone that they don't know, that they're meeting on the internet, is just going to run off with their pieces. They don't know them so you have to build trust. And so it's about creating talking points and building that relationship with the customer and getting in really understanding who they are. And so when I was defining this avatar, I knew that she was hesitant because she was worried about being able to trust someone that she just met. I also knew that, she probably was in maybe some sort of weird battle with her siblings over like which pieces, who gets what, if they have siblings and those things. So getting super clear on that helps you get in visualizing what that experience might be look like for them, and then documenting it and refining it over time helps you create marketing that will connect with those people, because you understand what their hesitations are, you understand what they're looking for, and all those things, when they come together, help you land more customers and clients, whether you're doing high-end jewelry, low-end jewelry, or any sort of physical product.
Wow, I think that's absolutely phenomenal. And I love that you've given some really valuable tips for, anyone, in the jewelry industry, obviously, and then also any type of entrepreneur, I feel like could definitely glean from the tips that you've given today. So I want to thank you, Tracy, so much for being a guest on the Chundria Show. If anybody wants to connect with you, grab some of those services, get a copy of your book, or even work with you, what's the best way to connect?
So I have an amazing podcast that you all should listen to. It's called Thrive by Design. I talk about marketing, business advice, all sorts of things, mindset, all the things. So if you want to just hear more about what I teach, that's the best place to start. I also want to recommend that you pick up the book, The Desired Brand Effect, and you can head on over to desiredbrandeffect.com to check out more. And then if you want to connect on social media, you can find me at Tracy Matthews NY.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tracy.